Hey, what's up, God's people and fellow ambassadors? Welcome back to the Ambassadors channel. We're here. It's all about motivating you, the people of God, to be true disciples of Jesus Christ. If this is your first time tuning in, I want to say thank you very much for taking time out of your schedule to watch this video. Do me this favor though, watch it all the way to the end and don't forget to hit the like, the share, and the subscribe button. So I want to continue on talking about wisdom. Last week I spoke and I said that last week the video was titled How to Receive Wisdom from God. And in that video, I mentioned that when we ask God for wisdom, God does not give it to us immediately. He can, but he don't. I believe 9 times out of 10, God will take us through certain experiences and expose us to certain things. And through that exposure and experience we gain more insight and understanding. And so in tandem, all of that work together for wisdom to flow to us, for us to receive wisdom. So this week I want to continue talking about wisdom. Only thing though, I want to talk about the poor man wisdom and why the poor man wisdom is despised. So let's flip on over to Ecclesiastes chapter 9 and verse 16, where it tells us that wisdom is better than strength. However, the poor man wisdom is despised and his words are not heard. Again, Ecclesiastes chapter 9 and verse 16 said that wisdom is better than strength. However, the poor man wisdom is despised and his words are not heard. So my question to you is, why is the poor man wisdom despised and not heard? Is it because he's poor, or is it because of something else? No, Solomon is obviously telling us something here, is letting us know that wisdom is better to be desired above strength. And the reason why he's doing that is because of what he has observed himself in his life. Through observation and exposure and experience, Solomon have gained more wisdom, one of the wisest men in the world. This is what this is showing us, that Solomon himself, through observation and experience, continued to gain wisdom upon wisdom upon wisdom. God did not give Solomon all that wisdom at once. So we read when the Bible tells us that Solomon was very wise and God gave him wisdom, all the wisdom. But we got to understand that Solomon's wisdom grew and grew and grew and grew. And how I noticed, listen to what Solomon is doing in this particular chapter and verse. So in chapter 19 of chapter 9 of Ecclesiastes, verses 13 on down to 16, Solomon is telling a story. And this is what Solomon said. Solomon said there was a city, a small city with very few people in that city, and a mighty king came against that city. Solomon is recalling what he saw and what he heard and was exposed to. So he said there was a mighty king that came against a small city, but in that city there was a very poor man. But that poor man had wisdom. Irregardless of the fact that this mighty king came and besieged the city, surrounded the city, set trap for the people, and was getting ready to devour and conquer the city, the wisdom of the poor man overcame the intelligence, the leadership, and the army. So from that, Solomon says, I also saw underneath the sun. I also looked and I noticed and saw that wisdom is better than strength. Wisdom is better than strength because of what this poor man did with the wisdom that he had. But over time, it amazed me that over time that the people forgot or did not reverence the man as much as I thought that he should have been reverenced, the poor man that is, and began to reject his wisdom and reject his knowledge. So it didn't tell us exactly how the poor man was able to overcome the king, the very strong king, and defeat them, but it did let us know that through wisdom, he was able to defeat the king. So as I read this particular chapter and verse, chapter 9, verse 16, it's puzzling to me how we can so quickly forget certain things based upon conditions. I think that in the process of time, not even in the process of time, let me go back. I'm just not free flowing. I'm just being open with you and speaking to you right now. So I think over time, or back as I'm looking back, I can truly say that at some point in our life, probably even now, some point in our life, we've all cast judgment, preconceived judgment based upon preconceived notion that was based on looks and appearance. Based upon looks and appearance. We look at how people dress. We look for where people from. We look what type of job people have or don't have. We look at the type of car that they have. And based upon what we see, we cast judgment and kind of determine who that person is or what that person is able to do and what that person is able to provide or not to provide. And I think that has become and probably still is a stumbling block for many of us to where we did not get to hear from the people we needed to hear from. We did not get to go to certain places that we should have been, at the right time because we have these preconceived notion and these prejudgment that became stumbling block that we didn't know were stumbling block and became a hindrance to us from receiving and hearing wisdom when wisdom is speaking. Because Ecclesiastes 9 and 16 let us know that this man have wisdom. He have wisdom, but his wisdom is rejected. His wisdom is rejected. Remember earlier I asked you, why is this poor man wisdom rejected? Is it because he's poor? I don't think it was because he was poor. I think his wisdom was rejected because of our preconceived notion, because of our perspective, because of what we were thinking and what was possible to come out of his mouth. It was unexpected that a poor man was carrying wisdom and carrying so much wisdom that it could overturn an entire army. By his wisdom alone, it overcame physical strength. It overcame knowledge. The knowledge of the king, that is the other king. And so I think that we as people have stumbled because of preconceived notion, because of a preconceived judgment. The truth of the matter is we should never prejudge until we give it due diligence, because God can use anything. God will use anyone to speak. So never look at a person or a place, what they're wearing, what they're not wearing, what kind of job they have, and determine that God can't use them, or determine that they don't have anything that can be a blessing in your life. Because the truth of the matter is, sometimes God is using them, and what we need to hear at that moment, at that time, can possibly come from an unexpected source. And so that's why I want to put this video out. That's what I'm just kind of talking to you to really be mindful that we cast down preconceived notion, cast down all these judgment that gets in the way, because it can keep us from receiving wisdom from God. It can keep us from receiving and speaking and hearing from the person that we need to speak to and be involved with. God bless you. I hope you enjoyed this video. Do me a favor, again, hit the subscribe button and share with a friend. God bless.